Today I'm installing these Acerbis handguards on my KX450X. I had them on my CRF450X for years, saved lots of levers, and they're still in good shape. I like them a lot, so got them for the new bike. I'm going to bring you along for a ride and show you how to install them. What's in the box is quite simple. You have your handguards, two of them of course. They come assembled just like that. They look pretty good actually. I like these Acerbis handguards a lot. And then in the back here, they do have a mounting kit. It comes with these nice brackets. And the back side is the clamps there. We have our hardware bag. Lots of stuff in there. You have your bar end inserts and multiple pieces to accept fat bars or your typical 1 7/8". And here we had the handguards installed on my other bike, like I said, so you can get a quick idea of how they look before we do the rest of the work. Full wraparound, threaded into the end of the bars. So you can see they've taken a lot of abuse, and I've actually sanded them over the years just to kind of clean them back up again. But they're good handguards. Actually kind of before and after of the use of them and how many impacts they've protected over the years. For the install, this Kawasaki has lock-on grips, so these actually will come off with a screw in a second. If they do not have lock-on grips, you have to cut a hole in the end because your full wraparound handguards go into the end of your bar. So that's something you do have to think about. Throttle tube, same thing, you're gonna have to take it off and cut a hole. But either way, whatever style you have, you will have to open up the end so you can get the bar end into it. For the Kawasaki, we got a 3mm Allen key, and just back off your lock-on grips. 1 Allen key on the inside down below. Once you unscrew the lock, you can just wiggle them off. Full of gravel and sand. We do have a metal outside ring, but plastic inside, like I said, so it should be fairly easy to modify these. Here's an explanation of why we actually have to cut the grips. So this is your threaded insert that goes into the end of the bars and actually is your full wraparound effect. You have a taper nut, so it's threaded inside, and you can see it's tapered on the end there with 2 little starts. You have a knurled insert, so it's tapered inside there. And when these two go together, as the bolt draws this in, it expands out the knurled part and it locks it into the bar. This is what you see on the end, and this is the part that will actually go to your handguard, and then your bolt goes through all of it, so you can kind of see the finished product here, just like that, and then it goes into the end of your bar with this in there also. I just don't want to lose it, just like that. And then once it locks in, it's locked in quite good actually. My other bars have never moved, and this whole threaded insert piece is almost a part of the bar. For removal, I've never actually had to do it before, but I think to remove them, if you threaded the bolt in with the handguard off the bike and left the bolt out a little bit and you knocked it at the end, it should break that taper, and then you should be able to kind of pull it all out as one loose assembly again. But once it's in and tight, it's jammed together pretty good. One thing I did notice, so I'm going to make it easier for myself on this bench, is this taper on this nut and the actual knurled section is a little bit tight. And this actual knurled section was very loose in the bar. So I thought I would just do the prep work now, and I will spread them apart just a little bit. Now you can see the taper is actually kind of started. Okay, modifying the grip. This is kind of going to be a quick and dirty method to do it. This won't be pretty. And I actually like the method of a carbide burr. I just plunge it in. And after I plunge it in, then I will start to work around and make a nice smooth hole, as smooth as you can. You certainly could spend more time and get all these edges perfect and make it really nice and aesthetic, but actually I find once the bars go on, you really can't see this. All this is hidden, it's covered over by your wraparound handguard. Okay, we have our cut grip put on, and now it's sticking out a little bit too far. The grips have to be flush with the end of the bar, or your new handguards will not want to sit correctly. So I'm just going to move my controls in temporarily, and I will slide this in so it's nice and flush. Now, installing your handguard. I explained to you earlier how this works, but I think it will actually work best if you install it on the end of your handguard first. This is a 6mm Allen key for this. And then I'll thread it all in, just kind of wiggle it into the end of your bar. And that's pretty much how it will be. Once you tighten that down, this will all sandwich together nice, and that will be locked. So now we need to focus on our other mount on the inside. I want to show you something we're running into. On my other bike, actually, the previous owner, when they assembled them, they removed these pieces, did not put them in, and just put some rubber pads in. And I just kind of left it that way because it worked. So I see now why they did that. These pieces are a little bit too pinched this way, right? So the U shape is actually a little bit too closed. It needs to open up a little bit. I actually don't think you can open up a little bit because it's just because you got to go in this outside insert. So I will remove some material from this side of the U on both sides. I had some extra material here from the casting. I removed that quickly and that still was not enough. So I'm just going to use my carbide burr. Okay, so now we can mock up our hardware here. We have our two pieces with our inserts. They do have two of these square head cap screws, 5mm Allen key. You just need to get a couple threads started and then leave it all loose so you can reposition everything where you need it to be in a few seconds. We have one rounded cap screw for the actual handguard itself. I'm going to leave this side completely loose now until we get the other side done so we can see where we want them for the rest of our levers and see what makes us happy, but that's kind of the gist, isn't it? Now let's do the other side, pretty much the same setup, but just we have to modify the throttle tube, though for a lock-on grip and the procedure I just showed you, that's basically exactly what I'm going to do again. So we'll do that now in a minute. Throttle side, we pull back this rubber piece. You pull it back this way, slide it down. This side, you kind of just peel it back so you can get access to the screws. On this bike with my levers in this position, I can only get access to the top screw. So you do that one first, and then it gives you enough room to spin it, and then you can get access to your bottom screw. Now, hopefully I'll tilt this so you can see it. These two halves just come apart. The two halves of the actual throttle assembly. There's nothing really inside of them to fall apart. You do have two cables on a 4-stroke, and if you kind of tilt this a little bit, you'll see the actual end, the little barrels, go into the throttle tube and then go right here so it can't fall out, just so you get an idea of when you're reassembling it. And there's one on the other side you can't see it, it's hidden, but two throttle cables, super simple. Throttle tube is off. Some other bikes you would have a separate throttle tube and then a grip that you glued on over it. So if that's your style, you have to cut the grip and then drill it and shape it the same as I'm going to do right now. We have our finished product. Same as last time. Don't forget how you took it apart. If your throttle is sticking out too far this way, the end of your rubber will actually rub on your handguard and it will create resistance and make a throttle sticky. So roll your throttle and make sure it returns normally, a quick snap return like that. Okay, I do have it fit up pretty close, but a couple things I'm going to change. The brake on this Brembo actually has this portion that comes out. You can see it right here, what I'm talking about. So as you pull it, it comes out and it gets quite close to this portion of the handguard right here. So I think I'll actually just use the carbide burr and just remove a small amount of material just for a little extra clearance. It's nowhere near close to touching right now, but if these ever did get hit by a tree or move in the future, I don't want it to ever be able to touch my brake lever. And one more thing here, when I had them placed actually quite close to where I think they will stay, the brake line is just resting on this, it's just barely touching. These handguard supports are quite thick, so I'm not actually worried about making them too thin or anything, and there's a good bit of material between the top of the bracket and where the bolt goes through for the threads. So I will remove a little bit of material, maybe a little bit off this plastic, just enough to kind of a notch just to put that brake line in there in a nice spot. So as the front suspension is flexing and this is going up and down, it is not rubbing in any way. Okay, our modifications are finished, just enough taken off, so you can see actually it's still just barely touching, which gives a perspective on how much it was touching before, quite a bit, right? Removing material inside here just gave us a little extra room, so there should be no way ever that will touch. There you have it, handguards on your bike. I think it was actually a pretty good install. You're always gonna have to modify a few little things like that. I expected that when I got these. If you're following this video along for your own install purposes, just make sure you go back and check out your bolts, your end bolts here, give them a nice little snug, and all your clamp bolts. Just double check everything so you don't lose something on a trail. But hopefully this helped you. I'm happy to go ride now and not have any more grab brake levers or smash knuckles. Next for this bike is sprockets, 12-tooth front, 52-tooth rear. We're going enduro style with this, so have a look for that next if that's something that is interesting to you. Thank you for watching. I'm Curtis. I'll see you next time.